Welcome. You have summoned the Phoenix Gate, or it has summoned you. This gate appears when comfort readings will no longer provide you the clarity needed. I am the Golden Rose, High Priestess, and Psychopomp with you through this liminal space. If you are ready, let the crossing begin. What is the current energetic state of my viewer? What cycle, belief, or dynamic is currently shaping their reality? This question is going to cover relational dynamics, identity narratives, emotional habits, inherited conditioning. These are the things that influence our current energetic state. So what cycle, belief, or dynamic is currently shaping their reality? Oh, right away. Persephone, balance. Ooh, she is one of my favorites in Greek mythology. It's a wonderful story. Persephone spends half of the year in the world of summer with her mother, Demeter, who is the goddess of abundance. And then she spends the other half of her year in the underworld with Hades, being queen of the dead. So this is a goddess who represents both summer, light, sun, warmth, compassion, kindness, abundance, fruiting, fulfillment, and death, change, transformation, grief, sorrow. She holds both. And that means that doesn't mean that she comes out, because you are in a state where you are holding both as well. You have discovered that you have the capacity to carry grief and joy because they're twins. You cannot have one without the other. And Persephone rises because this is somebody who has discovered that. You have balanced out your feminine and masculine, or you are learning about them, those energies within our body. Joy and grief, love and indifference. You're working with the polarities and learning how to keep them in balance. All things have a polarity. So balance comes out when you have done the work, when you have embraced those polarities and are beginning to walk in harmony with them. Where is my viewer surrendered their power? Security. You may feel the need to hold rightly to your resources. While stability is important, remember that generosity allows abundance to flow. Trust in the balance between saving and sharing. So this is kind of confronting a lot of the cultural programming that we have around hoarding resources. This is why we have the disparity between the wealthy and the poor in society, is because of these mindsets. So you are in a state where you're challenging that mindset, but you have kind of surrendered to this focus more on the hoarding your resources, the saving, the making sure you have enough for a future that isn't here yet, this future planning to the point of taking you away from the now. And this card is really calling you to step back and look at your resources and think about where you might open to the possibility of sharing, being generous, and inviting those energies in as well. Persephone is inviting you to your summer months. What illusion is keeping my viewer compliant to these old narratives around security that have them hoarding, stockpiling, saving out of a fear of lack, limitation. I'm laughing because I just stated what they were. I didn't need a card to pull it out, but a card is going to come out. What illusion is keeping my viewer compliant? Instead of all the standard ones, what specifically? I'm getting a bunch of cards keep falling out because I'm not getting a very good handle on this deck. And that is my bad. What illusion keeps them compliant? Surrender. Release control and trust the process. Shifting your perspective will reveal new insights. Resistance only hinders growth. By letting go, you allow clarity and transformation to emerge, creating space for deeper understanding. So the illusion, those hanged man energies, those stagnancy, right? It's all about control and trust. The reason that we hoard our resources and save is because we don't trust the future. Let that sink in. We don't trust the future any more than we trust our past. And that prevents us from living now in balance. Okay. What truth is my viewer ready to live? Leadership. You are stepping into a role of vision and authority. Lead with integrity and inspire others through your actions. Your ability to see the bigger picture will bring success. Stay true to your values as you guide those around you. So again, this is asking you to step out and share of your resources, which in this case is looking like some knowledge, right? It can be knowledge. This card is referring to material, physical things. This is the Emperor card. I think in another reading I called the King of Pentacles the Emperor card, but this is the Emperor card. And it is wanting you to share, right? You can't inspire others and you can't be a leader if you are not sharing your insights, sharing of your resources, sharing from your overflow, right? So most of us believe that we are supposed to share from our cup, but the teacup comes on a saucer and you're supposed to pour into your cup until the teacup overflows into the saucer. And then we serve others from the overflow in the saucer, the plate that the teacup sits on. Most people take that overflow and store it and save it. But in nature, our nature, human nature, we were designed to give that portion away. Once our cup is full, we have no need for the excess. And that was meant to be given away. This is calling you to give that away. Use your discernment. Choose who you're giving it to. Don't give it away to parasites who are going to see a meal ticket and then start draining out of your cup. Use your discernment. Okay, but these old ideas and narratives about how we manage our resources are coming to an end, and we can see that all over the world. And so these energies are asking you to step into that role. Because when we're hoarding our resources, it is a form of invisibility. It is a form of hiding ourselves and limiting our expression. Because all our physical resources are, all our money is, all of that is a manifestation, a physical representation of the loving energies, right? Money is a representation, a symbolic representation of love. Think about what you spend your money on, right? That's why they were so easily able to turn our interests, our affections, and our attentions into capital. It's because money represents love, so it feeds on the things we love. Well, if you are hoarding and stockpiling your resources, you're hoarding and stockpiling your love. And then we wonder why there's a lack of love in the world. So this is just asking you to challenge and confront those narratives and to step into your own authority and agency and make these decisions for yourself, not based off of fear narratives that other people have given us from these outdated paradigms that come from World War II, the Depression, the Cold War, time periods and ages when we don't live anymore. You know, in the Depression, they were selling children in order to feed the family and the ones that were at home, right? They were sending their children off to work. And we lived in those kinds of dynamics for far too long. That's why we have so many parentified children who turned into adults who are now having to reparent themselves and learn how to emotionally regulate and do all of these things because they weren't ever allowed the childhood they needed. This is what we're confronting with these. Okay, so it's time to put the bullshit down and step into this truth that you have a gift that is meant to shine and be seen in the world. Like, you chose to incarnate in this time period with what is going on all around you. That means that your higher self and you have a contribution to it in some way, shape, or form. Step into it. Let your freak out, your frequency out into the world. We're not here to control the orchestra. We're just here to master our note. And your note is exactly what the world needs. What boundary must be established by my viewer in order to accomplish this? Reflection. This is a time for introspection and solitude. That means keep other people's opinions out of what you are building. If they're cutting you down, seeding doubt, filling you with I can'ts and what ifs, they're not the right people. If they are challenging you where you have delusions or illusions, but encouraging your ability to grow and helping you reframe and redirect, that's a completely different story. This is a time for introspection and solitude. Step away from the noise and connect with your inner wisdom. Answers will emerge when you focus inward. Trust that this pause will bring clarity and help you align with your higher purpose. So the boundary you need to set is around input from other people. Listening to these old tapes and narratives about how the world always has been and looking at it through the lens of, well, is that working for me or not? And what do I need to do about it? But you need to pull away from those who are feeding those narratives, right? If you are looking to grow, don't get opinions from people who are not living the life you want to live. Don't get opinions from people whose lives are a mess. That's what this is asking you to do. So set that boundary around yourself. Make your moves in silence if you need to, because we cannot let people who are going to cut us down be on our path of progress. In solitude and in quiet, you will receive the intuitive knowing, those statements of surety, not the insecurity and doubt. That's ego, and that's survival based. We do not live in the Great Depression anymore. The battles that we are facing are completely different. The world is a lot more connected. So go and tap into your inner guidance, trust your inner knowing that came here for this time period for a reason, and set boundaries around your growth and your goals. Okay. Let us pause at the threshold to take in the view. We have felt what was ending and what truths asked to be faced. Change often carries grief alongside liberation, as old identities must be let go of. Before we take flight from here, let's take one audible, slow breath to honor the loss of lives we didn't live, futures that never came to be. We're going to breathe in for a count of 6, hold for 4, and release with an audible sigh for 8. Ready? In. Hold. And release. Now let's reveal the wings you are forming. What decision restores my viewers' authority and agency? Too many. Just one, please. That one flew off. Transformation. An ending is clearing the way for renewal. Though change may feel challenging, it is a necessary step towards growth. Embrace the transformation and trust in the promise of new beginnings. Let go to make space for what's coming. Trust the future you are building and aim for it. That is the decision that restores your authority. Trust in yourself to be able to build the future that you want, and trust the future to hold you. What single action will serve as sign, symbol, and proof to my viewer that they have crossed this Phoenix gate and are in their new phase? They are entering into this phase of balance and leadership. Way too many, but I'll take that one. Self-care is not being selfish. You're investing in the most precious thing on earth, so you'll find more opportunities and time for self-care. It will begin to feel more comfortable and inviting to you. The other ones that came out were be realistic and no mud, no lotus. So it's not indicating that this is going to be easy work. It never is when we're confronting our own limiting beliefs, our own internal narrative that is really the one that is running amok in our lives. It isn't other people, it isn't other things, it is us and what we tell ourselves. The lies that we tell ourselves. Okay. So no mud, no lotus means scraping off the junk of our own inner dialogue, right? The being realistic means being able to take inventory of how you are holding yourself back, of where you are giving away your power and your authority. And when you are practicing that balance, you find time for self-care. You find ways to meet your own needs, and you will find that your needs are still met. Right? We hold on to our resources because we don't believe our needs are going to be met. The self-care card is coming out as sign and symbol that proves you're crossing your new phase. It's because you will not feel the fear of lack, loss, and limitation as strongly. You will feel more cared for by yourself. You will feel more secure and stable in yourself. And so this is your sign and symbol, because you will start to feel this is true for you, that you care about yourself and are competent and capable of doing that and still be a giver. Okay, we're just learning how to give appropriately, learning how to give to people in a mutually beneficial symbiotic way instead of a parasitic symbiotic way, because we're in a symbiotic relationship with everything around us. We just have to learn how to recognize mutually beneficial, the balance, from those that are parasitic, the ones that are taking until it dips into our cup. Okay, so when you are feeling the care for yourself, when you are starting to actually live in a state of self-love instead of it just being something you have to remind yourself is there, you'll know you've crossed this gate. What internal or external support is available to my viewer as they are crossing this threshold? I am in my self-care era, and I love the confidence that it has given me, as I know that I am able to meet my needs. And even when I don't feel like my resources are always, what I think they should be, I always have enough to take care of myself and still give to others. And when I give to others, I find that when I have a need that I can't meet, that energy returns to me, and I am supported and nurtured through it. Okay. So just as hope and guidance for anybody out there, the energies that you put out into the world do come back to you. Internal or external support is available to them as they cross this gate. The Smith. So this is overthinking and taking action. So to me, this is a transition from this. This is a little bit more of the overthinking state, right? So we are moving from the overthinking state into the taking action state, right? We're getting out of this state of morbid self-reflection, obsession, into the ability to take action. 2 cards came out on this one. The other one is the Guide. So this one, the Smith, to me speaks of competency. You will have competent support from people who know how to guide you as you are building your future, right? This is all about security. So this is world building. A Smith is a builder. They're able to work with fire and metal. And they bend them both. Okay, so you will find that you are able to do that, and people around you will be able to do that. But you have to watch for the inverse of that card, because just like Persephone, there's polarity in all things. That's why I don't take reversals in cards, is because there's polarity to everything. So you have been stuck in overthinking. It is time to take action. The Guide was the other card that came out, and that is all about inheritance and correction. Right? So being able to catch yourself when you're overthinking and go back to the knowing that occurred before the overthinking and going, there's my action step, and taking it. So most of this is internal, but I do believe that when the student is ready, the teacher emerges. And if you build it, they will come and they will help you build too. Okay. So those are your supports available. What message does my viewer's evolved self send back to them? This message should be one that helps reframe their fear, offer validation, anchors them in this forward motion. Because I like my OCD energies, I'm going to slide that one up, so I can put that other card there because I like balance. Balance feels good. I am completely comfortable with discomfort, but I also know when I don't have to tolerate the intolerable. So I don't have to tolerate the intolerable disorganization that I was looking at there. All right. What message does their evolved self send back to them now? I'm pulling a Rumi card. I think Rumi is a good one to send us off. Does their evolved self want them to know? The right choice. Not every eye has vision. Not every sea contains pearls. I wanted to say shell as soon as my mind saw pearls, so I had to pause and argue with the word sea for a moment. When you are drawn away from a tantalizing sweet shop, trust that there is a more delicious array of confectionery just around the corner. Yes, have your tantrum if you must, but you will be sheepish when you realize the hand that removes is the same great hand of the beloved that bestows even greater gifts. The energies we put out into the world are the energies that come back to us. If you are hoarding your resources, withholding your gifts from the world, then the world withholds from you because it can only work with what you put out into it. That is what this card is talking about. If you're drawn away from one thing, trust that there's more in another way. So do not be afraid to give and share, because the hand that removes is the same hand that bestows even greater. What you give will be returned. That is what that card is telling you. The Phoenix Gate has opened. The fire has claimed truth. The ashes have been witnessed. The wings are forming. What you carry forward from this gate is yours to nurture, protect, and grow. Transformation is rarely loud. It is often quiet choices repeated over time. You are allowed to move at the pace your truth requires. Thank you for crossing this threshold beside me. If this reading spoke to your journey, you are invited to share what resonates in the comment. I would love to have the opportunity to witness. Until the next gate summons, I send you my love.